Well, hello again, and welcome back. We're on lesson 5. We're going to talk about your agreements and duties as an individual board member. I just want to remind you about your handout so far. You've got the workbook. I hope you've had an opportunity to take a look at it, some of the reminders, some of the opportunities for reflection. You've got the board member orientation checklist, which I hope you've used to help to coordinate with your own orientation and your own board, and also to improve perhaps your orientation and onboarding for your not-for-profit board as well. Your 4 core responsibilities, which we'll come back to in almost every lesson, types of boards, and your board roles and responsibilities. So for today, we're going to drill down a bit into your specific roles and responsibilities. And the handouts relate to an outline of those board member roles and responsibilities, and also Robert's Rules of Orders, because what we found is that in some meetings, these can be used as a weapon against people, and they're pretty straightforward and designed to ease decision-making and nothing more than that. So you have a cheat sheet and a bit of background on those as well. So coming full circle again to the 4 major, unique core responsibilities of your board. Remember, I hope you can state these by now. You're going to set strategic direction on behalf of your community. And that includes a review of the strategic plan, of course, which means that you're really creating the identity for the organization, your mission, your vision, your values. You're going to develop that creative, constructive partnership with your chief executive officer. You're going to ensure that there's sustainable resources so that you can achieve your mission. And then, of course, you're going to monitor, evaluate, audit, both programs and services and finances. So moving to you individually, can we assume that you know that your values and priorities are aligned with the organization of which you're now a leader? And yes, governance is leadership. So as a board member, you are a leader. Let's assume that you know that board members have legal and fiduciary responsibilities as outlined in legislation. And you reviewed your constitution, if there is one, and your bylaws. So let's hope that you have some agreements that have been made. This is less common perhaps, but we should also assume that you took an oath of office, real or imagined, or at least signed an agreement of some sort or a contract, including expectations, a code of conduct, a conflict of interest statement, and all of this before your first day on the job, your first day at the board table, in the boardroom. Can we also assume that there's a board member job description? This might include your qualifications, for example, simply living in the community of which you are a board member, your authority and accountability, your responsibilities, your principal duties, any expectations for fundraising, perhaps an outline of expected time commitments so people understand that in advance. Review and evaluation of your performance, your attendance, your participation, whether done by you alone or by the chaired or by other board members. Any term limits? Is there a term limit policy that you have? 1 term, 2 terms, how long? 2 years, 3 years? And any grounds or process for removal from office. Typically that's limited to attendance, but it could be other things as well, including that review and evaluation of performance. Then there are the 3 big clusters of duties. And we discussed these last week for boards generally, but they apply to individual board members and they warrant repeating here. First, the duty of diligence. You act in the best interest of the organization. That's when you discharge this duty. As fully informed as reasonably possible and with respect to all aspects of the organization. Now, to be accountable, you must act prudently and reasonably. This includes simple things like reviewing the agenda and the supporting material before you get to the meeting, attending meetings, being prepared to discuss and to vote, contributing to a positive board culture. This is the old notion of being hard on the idea, easy on the person, with high standards for behavior and decision-making based on evidence. You should also support the chief executive officer. Now, of course, you're going to participate in any performance reviews, but that's when your concerns should be stated unless you're providing specific feedback. These responsibilities tend to cover your personal liability when your actions are consistent with the duties owed by board members to the organization. So exercise due diligence. If in doubt, get independent advice. Now, orientation is a fundamental prerequisite to full participation, and regular refreshing and updating of all board members should be provided to ensure board level diligence. Next, the duty of care. You are responsible for acting honestly and in good faith and in the best interest, again, of the organization. You exercise the care of a reasonably prudent person, including with regards to the people, the facility, and goodwill and reputation in the community. Your duty of loyalty. As a board member, you ensure that the organization's activities and transactions are first and foremost advancing the mission. So you know it. It resonates with you. It's achievable. You recognize and disclose any conflicts of interest. You make decisions that are in the best interest of the organization, not in the best interest of any individual board member or any other individual or entity. This becomes especially challenging for board members who are appointed due to their position on another organization's board. You become the community's voice, not your individual voice, and you speak at the board table on behalf of your community. And yes, you do have stakeholders as you represent people other than just yourself. Now, of course, it goes beyond this as well. There's ambassadorship. You should be prepared, particularly in fund development and advocacy work for policy changes, to leverage your connections and your network. And indeed, you should have and do have community connections and a network. In terms of responsibility, you knew what you were applying for, right? Applying for or standing for election. Above all, as a board member or director or trustee, whatever name is given to you, your role is to do your best to help your organization achieve its mission or purpose and its goals. And once again, once elected or appointed to the board, it is the board as a collective, rather than individual members, that has the power and obligation to manage the affairs of the corporation. Corporation, of course, being the agency or the organization. No individual other than the chair has any authority or any responsibility to speak for the board. Next up, let's look at your legal and financial responsibilities and auditing performance. I look forward to having that discussion with you. And again, be sure to be in touch with any questions or concerns that you might have. Thanks.